General Andrews,
and the Dream Stream presents Rapid Runs.
Yeah, he's been throwing me some curveballs. That's why the schedule's changed a smidge, but it doesn't change their time, so we're okay, folks.
Yeah, we went from wanting to do Dreamworld Pogi and Celeste Mario to changing it last second to Dreamworld Pogi and DuckTales to changing it again to Celeste Mario and then DuckTales.
There we go. We figured out the right combo. So I'm ready whenever you're ready.
I am good to go.
Cool. So when does it start?
So this one's going to be a little bit tricky. After the pause at the title,
okay.
You can time it as best you can. I'll tell you when time comes up, but basically when you see Mario appear in the sky. So it's timed RTA in the sense like first movement of Mario, but that's maybe like a second in after I push start on the title.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And then when does it end?
I'll tell you, but it's like basically I'll warn you coming up. Basically as he enters the last pipe, that's when timing is.
All right, I'm stoked. Let's do this.
Cool. So yeah, I'll just preface this really quickly and just say, as I said, this is a ROMHACK. It came out in July of this year, so it's only a few months old. Really, in my opinion, this might be the best, most technical ROMHACK that I am aware exists. It's basically a crossover between Mario and Celeste, but more Celeste than Mario, and it's really cool what this guy did. So it created an amazing speedrun. If you're attracted to anything that's like very technical, I'll try to point that stuff out. But for the most part, the movement's fantastic in this game. And yeah, I'm ready if you are, sir.
I am 100% ready.
Cool. So I'll push start, I'll count you down, and then as best as you can time Mario in the sky, obviously do your thing. But we'll say 3, 2, 1, go. So right off the start, there's really this weird mechanic. You get P-Speed, which apparently we did not. So the only room that you can get P-Speed in this game is actually the first room. And then after that, there's no other section that you can continue to, I guess, like gain P-Speed and run really fast. So we grabbed the power-up. I'll kind of talk through that really quickly. The power-up there is a wall jump, and we can basically create like a wall grab situation. And then this one is kind of like the air dash. So very similar to Celeste, we have now a dashing capability. And it's really hard to explain some of the tech in this because if you're pushing B and then A, you do like this weird long jump. And right here, if you do B and then A off a wall, you do like this really big jump. So of course we died there. There's also a stamina thing going on in this game where you can't hang onto walls too long. So that's the BA jump. And then here, if you're holding down and right and then push B, you basically get like a jump extension so you don't have fatigue. This is one of the harder tricks. I think it's a 2-frame window that skips an entire section. And then coming up here is one of the hardest tricks, I think, in the game, actually, or at least in the speedrun, this is also a 2-frame window, but coming up here, it's actually pixel perfect and frame perfect. So I'll probably die a couple times. Oh, okay, second try, take that. But yeah, it's very difficult, that one. You skip a huge section. And this run's going to be over pretty quickly. It moves really quickly, so I like how this one moves a lot. The only other thing that's kind of like interesting, I would say, in terms of like the tech, is there's a moon skip coming up. How the game is supposed to be played is there's actually several moons that you get, and it increases Mario's stamina, but because this is any percent, Mario doesn't need stamina for the most part. He can just kind of go through all these rooms, and he doesn't need to like increase his stamina meter or anything like that. But there is one moon that is notorious. It's like literally right in your face, and it's actually coming up pretty quickly. And there's also one skip also that's pretty annoying too, which is this one here. So let's see if we can get it. No! Mario died a very heroic death. The window frame to do that skip is also very tight, and if you mess it up like this, there's not really a way to redo it. You just have to die. So much like Celeste, there's kind of like a quick respawning system. And that is probably one of the most annoying things, because if you dash onto this thing, like this little TNT thing. Okay, there we got it. No, we didn't. Amazing. If you dash onto that TNT thing, it destroys under your feet. But if you don't dash, thank you. if you don't dash on the way out, you just die. So, okay. that was okay. What? I'm not sure how Mario survived there. We have shell mechanics coming up. These shells are very short-lived. They don't really do anything in the speedrun. They're kind of here to annoy you. And luckily, we don't have to deal with the shell very much. So this is one of the cooler rooms. You can drop the shell. Doing this room actually is very difficult this way. And okay, we did not die. This is the one moon skip. We'll see. Oh, we skipped it. Grabbing that moon is literally like a 5-second time loss. So hooray, we did the thing. And yeah, so coming up, it's really hard to explain this game, honestly, because it just moves so quickly. But basically, we're about halfway through already. To kind of, I didn't know a block was there. We learned something. We learned something today. To kind of explain, we have like these weird things coming up, and they're called a nightmare clip. They're the giant QR code. I actually don't know if it's something that you can scan. Maybe it is. Coming up, there's actually a fairly hard clip too. Or not hard clip too, sorry, hard strat here. There's a relatively big skip coming up in the next screen. And this jump, okay, that jump is actually way more tricky than you think it would be. So, okay, well, we get to wait like a sucker at the bottom here, because apparently we can't come through. Yep. So, there's these nightmare clips later on in the run, and basically they're all very, very tight windows. I don't know the exact window frame, but I think they're like 1 frame windows each, possibly 2 frame windows, and you have to do a sequence of them in order to sequence break some of the sections coming up here. And we're gonna have a section coming up pretty quickly, actually. Oh, I believe in you, Mario. Okay, you grabbed the wall. Oh, there's a checkpoint here. We got lucky. I did the exact same mistake. Mario learned nothing. Okay, stop grabbing that wall, Mario. Thank you. So, what's kind of interesting about this game is there's literally no, for the most part, like sequence breaks or errors. There's really just like one little section. And that's it. So we're just gonna go.
Okay, that's where we're low.
I showed Kat that Bobby voice the other day.
Hi.
She had no idea it was a thing.
No.
Yeah. I somehow am the person that made that Bobby voice on Andrew's alerts. It's terrible. I love how Andrew's decided to keep it. So we are approaching basically like the second section of this game, which, as I said, like is almost over already. We have a relatively couple of hard skips actually coming up, but for the most part, the checkpoints in this are pretty forgiving. I would say this is one of the harder ones here, going through this little section and then jumping up the wall, because you need to do this in a very precise way so Mario doesn't lose his stamina. So I have 1 extra jump here so I can get out of there. If you lose your stamina, you're basically like stuck on that wall and you can't do anything. I did not mean to go into that bubble. Accidental bubble entry. This is one of the harder normal screens in the entire game where there's not like any kind of sequence breaking, because you're skipping through this entire section and we're gonna die. But it's also annoying because this is one of the rooms that you don't get a checkpoint. So, oh, Mario. Okay. It's really cool to check out, honestly. I mean, I feel there's no reason not to check it out. Why do we keep dying on that spike? Because realistically, again, it's just like a free download. Doesn't cost anything for sure. Okay, finally we're out of there. So we're entering basically the second part if you've ever played Celeste. This is where the shadow clones obviously start to chase the girl. I actually forget her name, but I did beat that game a long time ago. So there's actually very similar mechanics in terms of like the dream blocks in Celeste where you can cancel out of them. And very similar to here, you can do that as well. We have our first sequence break coming up. It's actually important to go up here and then to go back down. So even though that looks weird, there's actually a map that you'll see in a second. And then this part I will need to probably shut up for a second because it's multiple frame perfect inputs, I think. Or at least to get in here, it's very difficult. Thank you. Thank you. Why? Okay. So that's one of, I think, 3 that you do. And we go back here because we activated the map. So now we can come back here and basically fast travel and go up there. So this is the second sequence break. This one, you have like a giant window frame. You're not supposed to obviously land where that bubble is. So that one's relatively free in comparison to the first one. And the last one is obviously the hardest one, so they save the best for last. And just like in Celeste, we have kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing of the music here. And then there's Mario clones that start to chase us, very similar to like the second level in Celeste with those clones that chase that girl. What's really tricky is one of the kind of like 2-frame whatever windows that I just did to skip that section. You have, okay, Mario, you have to do this actually later on in the run, so it's coming up pretty quickly because it's kind of at the end of this section, but you have to do that as the shadow clones are chasing Mario, which creates like this horrible sense of urgency because you can't time anything. You just have to do everything perfectly and fast. There's like literally no good way to do that one. Ooh, he almost killed me. His foot was really close to my face there. Oh, Mario, don't do stuff like that. So coming up is the worst clip, which is actually in this room here. And of course, we just immediately died in the wall. So you have to, as this guy is chasing you, which is all instant death, fall off at an angle and then clip into this thing. Easily the hardest, I think, trick in the entire little run. I keep not holding the wall. So, okay, guy, can you just hold the wall, please? If you're not holding the right direction, it's actually opposite directions here. So I'll try it a couple more times, otherwise we'll just do it as intended. Oh, okay. That is so hard. You have no idea. It's ridiculous. And we just died. All of our efforts, we like flew into the wall. Okay. So we're gonna activate this thing. And there's only a few more rooms. So I don't know if this was like intended to be more or if he wanted to come back to it. I did not need to grab that crystal. I don't know what I was doing. So let's never do that again. We just, okay. Thank you. Ambushed by a group of Marios. Okay, so the timing will be pretty quickly. It's after this next room, after Mario enters the pipe. So I guess we get to do that again. Thank you, Mario. Damn, I guess we get to do it again. Like we do the clip, but jumping off the wall is apparently impossible. Okay, time. So there we go. We chose to end time on this section just to show you guys the very end. And that's because there's these like text boxes that pop up and they're pretty annoying, honestly. So you can literally see they halt all your movements, and there's multiple text boxes here. But in any percent, just to show the end of this, technically the credits would be here, and they're on this little bridge up here. It says, "Thank you for playing the game." And there's all kinds of moons in 100%. So there's actually a lot of like bonus levels and stuff like that, but you need to collect 80 moons, or 60 moons, sorry. I think it's 60, 40, 20, 20 or something like that, and something else to enter these doors to basically have like the extra levels. So I think there's 79 moons originally to enter these doors, and if you beat all the doors, there's like 101 or something like that. So that is that game, very quick. And yeah, that's all there is to kind of talk about it. Very worth checking out if you like high execution stuff.